What's up, y'all? It's your boy, the one and only A Switch, aka let me suck on your toes while you're thinking, aka who keep putting this cinnamon toast crunch in my pocket, aka the Komake Tiger Dropper, aka the undisputed, undefeated, uncontested social distancing champion, aka the nigga lip master, bringing you yet another episode of Switches Sights, episode 149. Just one shy. Just one shy. For those that don't know, Switches Sights is a solo video game podcast where your boy, A Switch, just talks about that. Yeah. Today's date is April 14th, 2022. I guess happy Easter for those that celebrate, whatever, you know. What else? Nothing really. Just wanna, I heard a rumor. At least it's a rumor. Not solidified, but just in case, just in case, Rihanna, come back to me. All right. Come back to me, please. So apparently there's a rumor that Rihanna, infamous musical artist turned fashion designer mogul, that of course the person that she chose to marry, accept me, and have a baby with. Oh no, she didn't. Did she marry? No, I don't think she married him. Chose to have a baby with, accept me. ASAP Rocky. I mean, he's a dope artist, though. I mess with his music, but still. So apparently, he decided to cheat on Rihanna, with somebody else that wasn't Rihanna. So, I mean, if it's true, I'm just saying, Rihanna, you shouldn't you shouldn't have left it when you had it. I'm just saying, Rihanna. The invitation is open, but not for long. All right, maybe like I give you 2 months to a year max, and that's it. That's fine. That's final. No exceptions after that. At period. At generous period. Let me stop. Outside of that, nothing else that caught my eye, at least. Nothing else that got in the way of my sights. I'm sorry. I had to do it for the one time. Yeah. So, you know what? With all that being said, let's stop the dilly-dallying, and get right into it. First topic of discussion. First topic. Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts 4 was announced last Sunday. Sora had them feet out. I just started it. I had to start it. I had to start it off. I had to. Oh man, I had to start it off. Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer starts. Sora got them feet out. Sora got them feeties out. He does have big feet though. I thought, as somebody who's somewhat of a distant observer of Kingdom Hearts, I messed with the first one way back, but I just assumed, I wasn't actually sure really. I thought maybe the shoes were just extra, that it was there were standard foot size, but there was an extension of the shoes to make it look Mickey Mouse, goofy clown like, for to be in fashion with, you know, Disney, while also kind of somewhat being still tame for Square Enix in a way. I don't know. Anyway, Sora's Feast was out. So any rumors, any what deviant art, freaking I don't even know what else. I don't know how creative and devious y'all be getting out there, but um you know, hey, I mean, I guess it's kind of added more to the fire than anything. Like people know, like, oh wow, his feet are really big like that. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how we got here, but I think it's apparent that we had to bring this up. Outside of that, I think the universe he's in, or at least they showed in a trailer. What was it called? Quadratum. You have to excuse my lack of knowledge of the Kingdom Hearts universe, but I think it stands as one of the unique worlds that you can explore in Kingdom Hearts. So at least for this one, that's the new one. I believe it looked very much like New York. Do I say it like New York? Let me try. New York. It looked very much like New York. I'm surprised. I think everybody collectively had issue with Sora not rocking any Tims in Quadratum, New York, which is unfortunate. But what can you do? Disney going Disney. You know, they probably had to pay you know, Timbaland some money in Disney. You know how Disney be all funny about other companies and getting mixed and putting in mix, and not, I don't want to pay you $50 to put Tim's. That's probably an insanely insulting insanely insulting amount of money to ask to propose in the game. I don't know. I'm just saying it's a lot of niggas that play Kingdom Hearts. So are we really at a loss here, or are we really losing? I don't know. Anyway, so they pretty much showed that seemed to be, I think, putting in consideration my severe lack of knowledge of the series as a whole. It seems to be one of the more realistic worlds for Kingdom Hearts to be in. So it's going to be interesting to see where he goes from there. It was somewhat teasery. Actually, let me play it to refresh my memory. Oh, they showed a lot of stuff actually. Kingdom Hearts 4 is obviously the standout, but man, they did have a lot of stuff. I only really saw Kingdom Hearts 4, but I know there was other things. But you got I believe the Shadow Hearts. I'm pretty sure I know that specifically. Yes, in a city, Sora just with his feet. He got shoes on. Let me let me stop. He got shoes on. He fighting this huge ass shadow. This thing is pretty big. It's like some God of War stuff. This is very God of War like. Oh, he got the Keyblade. Getting the Keyblade out. He doing something where it turned to a spiral and he shoot it. Got him in the heart. Put a hole in it. Shadow Man was like, "Wait a minute, you ain't gonna disrespect me like that. Put the fist back down." And then towards the end they showed Donald and Goofy. That's all you gonna get. So there you go. Kingdom Hearts 4. Hype. I'm weirdly excited. I think more so for the fans rather than me, but I've always had an interest with Kingdom Hearts series in general, but I haven't necessarily jumped into it. Like I said earlier, I like when I was super young messed with the first game a little bit. I think I rented it one time, played maybe a couple hours, but then never came back to it. But someday, maybe sooner than later, I hope to rectify that. Um, but it looks interesting. In terms of the other stuff, Missing Link. I believe that was of course, it's an all new game for iOS and Android devices. No offense to the mobile players, that's just not my fancy. But I mean, it probably might be essential if it is Kingdom Hearts related. Even though, to at least outside looking in, from what I've heard, like Kingdom Hearts seems to be a very convoluted story that even even people who've literally played all the games maybe multiple times are still confused. I would assume in kind of in the same vein as Metal Gear Solid series or something like that, where you think you know, but you have no idea. Is that a real world comp? I think that's the real world. I believe that's. Let me let me look it up because that's gonna bug me. Think you know, but you have no idea. Is it MTV Diary? Oh, okay, okay. I was in the MTV ballpark. Damn, I totally forgot about Diary. Yeah, it goes through all like the superstars, their life, or like man, take me back. Take me back. That was a dope series. I kind of missed that. Not gonna lie. Man, that was random. But anyway, um, Missing Link. Is there anything else? Yeah, I guess it was just that in the mobile game. Kingdom Hearts 4 and Kingdom Hearts Missing Link. So I don't think they're giving us any information at E3 or Summer Games Fest currently. So probably hear more maybe towards the end of the year. So Kingdom Hearts fans reunite. The Sora is still strong. I guess that kind of adds some more validity to why they actually managed to get Sora in Smash Brothers 2 now. I mean, definitely more free publicity for Kingdom Hearts 4 whenever it comes out. I don't know. So you love to see it. Moving on. Halo Infinite got some goons. Halo Infinite got some reinforcements. So certain Affinity, I think I think they've generally been working with Microsoft to some extent. I think they've been working with Microsoft a lot in general. Call of Duty, World of Tanks, Age of Booty. I'm immature. I guess that's it. But I think they've just dabbled here and there. Mafia 3, Doom 2016, Modern Warfare Remastered, Crackdown 3, Call of Duty Ghost, Onslaught DLC, Halo 4, Left 4 Dead. So I think they helped with like porting and like supplementing developers to my understanding. But they've been brought on to help with the Halo franchise, quote unquote. I think it's evident that it's Halo Infinite. So via their tweet specifically, we've been part of the Halo franchise for more than 15 years, and we're honored to say we are deepening our relationship with 343 and have been entrusted with further evolve in Halo Infinite in some new and exciting ways. Join us on our journey. So call for help for employees to join the effort to create whatever this thing is, so at least a lot of the rumors have been going back to Halo Battle Royale, which I think was one of the initial rumors to some extent that it will possibly happen at some point, but possibly the single player. But I don't know. It seems like it's I think they specified in the careers area that maybe not. These are pretty general, but it's heavily implied that it's going to be for Halo Infinite. In that regard. So, well, yeah. So I believe the efforts is going to be focused specifically on multiplayer, but I wouldn't be surprised if they actually. No, yeah, I think that would make more sense. Yeah, them focusing specifically on multiplayer, and 343 actually focusing more on single player, having more resources from their team on single player, and hopefully speed up the process with Halo Infinite in its current state. Since I think, well, no, May is going to be their second season finally after what, like damn near 6-7 months almost. Their new season, but even with the new season, I think it's gonna supposedly gonna be pretty limited in terms of content. I think it's only gonna be like one or two maps. Actually, let me look that up. Halo Infinite Season 2 content. Because there was a very brief trailer, but nothing really worthwhile, like kind of like going over. Called the Lone Wolves Update. May 3rd. New battle pass, of course. Players earn 1,000 CR in the Season 2 Premium Battle Pass. Weekly challenges, ultimate rewards, blah, blah, blah. 2 new maps, Catalyst and Breaker. Not much known about it yet. Breaker is a big team battle map. So, yeah, that's a little disappointing. All this time and only like 2 additional maps. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. It's not good looking. I think they even push back multiplayer campaign co-op. I think they pushed that back even further because I think it was supposed to come with this new season, but I think they pushed that back too. So it's not looking good. I think they'll get there eventually, but I don't know. I don't know if the fans will still be there. I'll probably, hop in every now and then whenever there's a, substantial update, like probably around May, because I have not touched Halo Infinite pretty much since the holidays, I want to say. Pretty much around the holidays is when I dropped off. So, but I mean, I had a fun experience with it so far. The gameplay is really good, but it just, at this point in time, lacks a lot of content, at least mainly maps, considering that at least that's the marquee mode for Halo after completing the single player. Just more maps, maybe a couple weapons peppered in there. The weapon selection is pretty varied and valid, but I don't know, it would be cool to add something to one weapon here or there to kind of mix things up a little bit, bring some classic ones back, the rail gun, hell, even the Spartan laser. I got a thing for the Spartan laser, don't get me wrong. Something like that. So we'll see, but at least it's a good sign that they're at least realizing, hey, things are not working, we need to focus on whatever and divide our abilities to some extent. So at least knowing I'm trying to refrain from quoting it, but I have to. Knowing is half the battle, G.I. Joe. I'm just, they gotta do something. Anyway, with that being said, that concludes the news for this week. Talk about what I've been playing. Which has been Persona 5 Strikers. Man, this is a so far I think I'm like 15 hours in. I believe I talked about it last episode, so I'll try to prevent retracing myself. But it definitely, it's like a legit, it feels like a legit Persona game in terms of like, I feel like they must have got a lot of the team members from the Persona, the original Persona game, and had them heavily like write and or what, because it's kind of surprising because like, you know, it's made by the people that made Dynasty Wars and like pretty much all other Musu games, and I was expecting like, okay, it's just gonna be like mission fight, but actually it's a very thought out story that takes place after, you know, Persona 5. And you know, the cutscenes are pretty much around the same length and cadence as Persona 5 as well, which that took me off guard, actually. Not in a bad way. I was actually surprised how much love and care is actually put into this game. I was not expecting it, but I am definitely very surprised. And the gameplay, once you get a hand down, figure it out, is pretty damn engrossing. It's hard to say. I don't know at this point if it's I don't know. It depends on your preference. I generally lean towards beat 'em ups, so technically this should have everything I want. But something about Persona 5 that the turn based action that just works, I think, better if you compare. But at the same time, I don't think it's really fair to compare the combat, turn-based combat, to like standard beat 'em up combat, even though there are a lot of RPG elements to it that do make it feel more tactical than like button mash and not think about it type thing. So yeah 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 I'm digging it. As it's, I guess it's kind of not even fair really, but as a fan of the of very just devout fan instantly after completing that game, it's I'm more than likely pretty biased. So, but I think even on its own merit though, the combat is involved. One question I had that at least I think recorded last episode I wasn't sure about, but can confirm now, you can switch between characters, and it is encouraged to do it, where they treat it like the baton pass system from the original Persona game, where, you know, you if you pass on to another person, you know, they get buffed. And, you know, it is smart to do that in some cases because somebody has a weakness, affliction to the enemy or whatever. So, yeah, it's at least in the context of this game, it speeds up your, I guess what's considered your special meter, where, you know, you charge it up and you do this overblown special that like wipes everybody out, very much in Dynasty Warriors fashion, at least the more recent games. But yeah, it's just a solid game so far. I'm not sure. I heard it's shorter than probably in comparison to Persona. I think it's way shorter. I think at least I looked up on how long to beat is like 30-ish hours. I think that's even if you're doing everything, which I do plan to do. I'm very enticed to do everything in this. So yeah, it's just the right thing I think I needed, because I just been having Persona 5 withdrawals, to be honest. Just jamming the music like weekly, And it's just like, man, I should probably play it again. But I'm like, I don't got that much time to, devote to a game all over again. 160 hours to do it all. I guess if you do it on New Game Plus, it's probably faster technically. Someday, someday. But yeah, man. If you're a fan of Persona 5, highly recommend Persona 5 Strikers. I think I mentioned it before, but if you have PS Plus and you picked it up, I think it was either February or January. You should have it in your library to play. But you definitely should play Persona 5 first. I wouldn't recommend the original Persona 5 though. I would highly recommend Persona 5 Royale. But Persona 5, the original one, is a PS what is it? PS5 starter thing where they give you a bundle of free PS4 games if you bought a PS5 specifically. There's no other way to get the game. You could do that, but I heard they did a lot of balance, patch balancing and buffs, debuffs to make the game even more enjoyable than the original in some ways. So it's give or take. But if, as somebody who jumped Persona 5 Royale first, I guess I never technically played the original, but from what I heard, it's definitely the optimal version if you wanted to jump into Persona 5. But not necessarily stressed, but at the same time, I think it's highly advised. So, Persona 5 Strikers. Persona 5 Strikers. That's the best I got. Also played. Damn it. I played damn it. What am I doing? Almost messed up my damn time code. House of the Dead remake. The House of the Dead. House of the Dead remake. Man. I was it was like a roller coaster of feelings I had towards this game. So initially, got it, I think Thursday night it dropped, or Wednesday I think, but didn't get around to playing it until like Thursday night. Played it. My damn eager ass. I got I wanted to get a handgun because I mean it's like, first off, if you're gonna play House of the Dead, I think the only correct way to play House of the Dead is with a gun attachment of some sort. Whether it be if you play in the Wii version of 2 and 3 and you like attach it to one of the gun, I think it's called a Nikon gunshot, attach it to one of those, and hey, I mean, as long as I get the feeling, you pull the trigger and the trigger hits the B button on the back of the Wiimote. Hey, I'm in the House of the Dead. I'm shooting and I'm I'm shooting and I'm laughing. That's the you can't use that context and everything. But anyway, shooting and laughing at the horrible voice acting and well, yeah, mainly just the voice acting. Shooting and laughing, right? And even like Dreamcast, House of the Dead 2. Got the light gun if you got a CRT. It does not work if you have modern day TVs. I guess FYI for those that maybe are eager or maybe have wondered. You cannot do that. You have to have that technology is made specifically for CRT TVs. So you have that, calibrate the gun, you got the gun, you shoot and it's flash and you get the kind of gratification of shooting and it's a good time. So I say that to go back to the Switch version of House of the Dead remake, which is the first one, which hasn't technically been remade or ported, I think, since the Sega Saturn version, which is a port of the arcade version, and I think that's the only port of the first game that exists until now. So I definitely played a bit during the arcades. I know there was a machine at our movie theater back in the day that I used to frequent every now and then. That was always a good time. So saying all that, to go back to House of the Dead remake now on the Switch, which I feel like the motion capabilities of the Switch felt very weirdly ominous. Where I was playing like No More Heroes that supposedly has the motion support, but I guess always put motion in sensor motion in I guess the same ballpark. So I assumed, because I think one of the Joy-Cons specifically, I think it's the left one, has a IR sensor on the back of it that I guess helps with motion by I think acting like somewhat like a camera in terms of detecting if something's in front of it or not, and determines that as a way to kind of judge movement in some way. So that's at least what I kind of had, I don't know, thinking coming in. So I was like looking online, like, man, I gotta get me a gun attachment. But all they had was these dumb, stupid, dumb shotgun looking things where you put both of the Joy-Cons separately into the moldings of it. But it technically didn't serve any purpose necessarily, other than just to hold the guns and kind of give you a feel of it. But it's not really enough to give you a feel of, having a gun in your hand, which is unfortunate. But so that kind of that in of itself kind of killed my mood. I mean, I was kind of expecting it, considering everything, but a part of me thought maybe it might actually work just enough to kind of get that gratification, like the Wii and Dreamcast versions. But it did not. It did not at all. Maybe if I sat far back. Anyway, I wasn't pleased. I wasn't amused at it at all. So I eventually just tried using just the Joy-Con and shooting it that way, because you can do a single Joy-Con mode. And it was okay. It wasn't perfect. It was just very iffy. And that's the one problem too with this game, is that there is a dedicated recenter button, because the aiming controls for the House of the Dead utilizes the Switch's gyro controls, which is basically the movement, detecting movement essentially, and having you aim that way using those types of controls. So with that in mind, considering gyro, I don't know, as somebody who's kind of somewhat, I don't know, I've barely used gyro. I know the capability has been in like the PS4 controller, PS3, and now the PS5 DualSense, and I think for the first time on the Nintendo Switch, it is it's not perfect. It depends. You gotta have like the perfect environment, I guess. But using it with the Wiimote, or damn it, they're essentially the same. The Joy-Con, it definitely goes off center a lot. So there is a recenter button on it. I think it's Y, where you have to literally. I found myself recentering it a lot, to the point where it's kind of distracting, where I like kind of got confused to reload versus recenter a lot, specifically. So that in turn made it difficult to aim, and considering the game and kind of how would I describe it, like just fast aiming required for the game, especially to save the scientist in the game, is like that's not working. So eventually I went to the Pro controller, which also has gyro support, and that definitely worked way better. Um, Felt more accurate, more stable, but it wasn't. I still had to recenter the gyro to actually make it feel accurate, which was unfortunate. But so eventually, I got to the point where like I legitimately played through the game without, just doing that. It was okay, not perfect though. So to kind of balance things out, I ended up freaking. There's an auto reload option in the game that definitely makes it much easier to kind of, um, I guess, have better muscle memory. That's what it kind of felt like to me, where it's like you're tapping two buttons like recenter, reload, and then shoot at the same time. So technically like three buttons. And then trying to use the trigger was kind of tiring because it doesn't feel like a trigger. Uh, so auto reload option helped a lot, where I was actually able to focus on aiming and shooting rather than reloading, which I kind of feels like cheating, but considering the, I don't know, lack of a classic experience, I guess it was like, yeah, it's time to just do it that way. So I did still have an enjoyable experience with the game, but I think hopefully somebody's making like some third party like gun attachment to kind of make it feel like at least the closest you can get to like a traditional like arcade like gun experience. But it was a little disappointing, not gonna lie. But I have some hope that somebody's probably just gonna make some mode that like incorporates the Joy-Con to where you can actually press it, or maybe have some attachment kind of similar to the Nyko gun for the Wii, where you press a trigger and it presses the Joy-Con trigger button to kind of emulate a gun in that sense. So we'll see. But it was fun. Don't get me wrong. I feel like I'm harking on the game, but I still had fun as somebody who hasn't played the first House of the Dead game, and I don't know how long. This was definitely refreshing. I definitely liked the graphics of the game. I liked the feel they were going for to, obviously encapsulate the first game in a lot of ways. And I like the new mechanics that you can actually get machine guns, assault rifles, but you have to unlock it by actually saving all the scientists, which is in some ways pretty difficult considering the controls, which I did manage to do and unlock all the weapons. And then you need those for the new kind of mode for the game called Horde mode, where it's essentially the same cadence as the original mode, but there's a lot more enemies on screen and a lot of additional enemies that like pop in like, throughout levels, which is it was definitely chaotic, hectic. I don't know, the Switch felt like the Switch was struggling a bit because there is a performance mode and a like visual mode, but like performance supposed to be 60, but you get too many enemies on screen, somebody biting and blood coming out, that frame rate gonna drop real quick. So yeah, it was fine though. It was just the one thing that really bothered me though was Thomas Rogan. I think towards the end there was a cutscene, and it's supposed to be, well, I mean, it's the House of the Dead, so I mean, B movie comedy type thing. So it's like, what are you expecting? But still, it's like he walks away from at the ending, and then his beard just pops in. Like, all right, this is okay. I guess there's really nothing we could do about that, huh? It's very, very distracting. Anyway, it's a fun game. If you're a fan of the House of the Dead, I definitely recommend it. I did dabble a little bit in handheld mode, and that actually felt really good too, where you do have those capabilities, but I think I had to work around being in handheld mode because the game thinks, even in handheld mode, that I'm only using one Joy-Con, which feels weird, so I had to invert the axis and the options, and then it felt accurate. Like whenever I aimed it the way I wanted to, it actually responded the way I wanted it to. So I feel like I'm talking about a lot of obstacles in terms of being able to enjoy this game, but it's fun. It's a good time. If you just like the B movie corniness, help me. Uh, somebody probably, I'm pretty sure somebody said that. Well, I mean that's a thing for House of the Dead. So there is a gallery where they show like all the enemies being remastered and stuff. They do little motions and it's in $20. It's only $20. For $20, I feel like I got my money's worth. I mean, if it was any higher, I'd be like, I don't know, but $20 I think is pretty valid. There's a lot of replayability, a lot of alternate paths you can go. I think a lot of them are if you let certain scientists die at certain parts, where you go to alternate paths within the maps. There's only technically 4 stages, I believe, but I think the replayability makes up for it in a lot of cases where going to different environments, getting new vibes and feels in certain areas. I think is it's fun. I had a good time. I'm complaining a bit, but overall I still had fun. It's just very, I don't know. It's a good time. What up, Glacial Musher? It's a good time. I recommend it. If you a fan. I don't know. If you're not a fan, I don't know. $20 though. Especially if it's on sale, which I think it's apparent. It's evident that it will eventually go on sale. So, and that's it. That's all I've been playing, really. Get into what I've been watching. Just been of course, The Walking Dead. It's the finally reached. I hate saying it. Finally reached the season mid season finale, but this is only part 2 of the final season. So, is it really the is it really the mid season finale? I don't know. It was all right. It was all right. I feel like a Walking Dead apologist every time I talk about this show, but I mean, I gotta see it through. I just need the cathartic ending, just of it ending, that like I could just I could just move on with my life, Man, it sounds like Stockholm syndrome. But I mean, I'm enjoying it still. It's not all like just selfless, I feel like the more I talk about it, the more I just feel like I'm not doing justice. But I digress. So somewhat spoilers for the mid season finale of Walking Dead. Daryl's girlfriend that nobody wants to be Daryl's girlfriend. Thankfully, what's his name? I'm gonna always call him Better Call Saul for Walking Dead. Saul Goodman in Walking Dead, he enlists upon this girl to assassinate Maggie because they're not joining the Commonwealth, which he wants them to join, but they refuse because they don't seem right, which Maggie is pretty valid in that suspicion. And all this kookiness ensues, and then they eventually get to that point where some things have been ended. I'll say that some storyline plots have been ended, and that's pretty much it until Octoberish, and I think then will be the final part of the final season of The Walking Dead. I'm be so done with Walking Dead after this. It's just This don't make sense. I'm not gonna watch Fear the Walking Dead. I'm not watching. I ain't gonna lie. I might be enticed by that Daryl and Carol spinoff. I'm kind of curious about that Negan and Maggie spinoff too. I'm just a sucker. I'm just sounding like a sucker right now, but it's Walking Dead. This is the dead that's walking. They just keep the dead. They just keep walking, and they dead. They won't stop. They just keep walking. But I digress. Also, caught Moonknight. Moon did the night, which it's all right, pretty decent. I don't know, nothing that's too crazy. I feel like it could use a little bit more action, I guess. But I mean, at the same time, I do like the storytelling they're doing. At least in this third episode, they're doing some cool stuff where you like kind of harken back to the first episode where he like shifts out of his other personality, and then they show like, you know, after he's done with the other personality's done, but they did it in reverse now where it's not Steven but it's Stan. I think that's his name. I'm getting mixed. Steve or Stan. Where they show it from his point of view now in a new perspective, which is pretty cool. And then they're trying to prevent the the demigod apocalypse. I'm totally paraphrasing. That just shows my retention, but he did turn into Moonknight, which is always great. Got his little little moon sickles, as I'll call them moon sickles. They come out his chest and he throw them at people and stab them. It's a good time. It's a good time. That's really all I can say. Yeah, it's very moderate. Nothing like too crazy, too oh my god. But very just moderate. Moderate, I think feels like the right word to say. And you know what? Pretty much after that, that's pretty much it. Pretty much it. So, with that being said, I think that will actually conclude episode I had to think about it, 149 of Switch's Sights. If you did like this podcast, feel free to like, rate, subscribe. My favorite podcasting platforms. You can catch me live on Twitch TV/ASwitch. You can catch the archives on YouTube.com/ASwitch. You can also follow me on Twitter @ASwitch as well. But until next time, y'all, get your damn game on. Feel free to fuck. Aw, yeah. Nobody's safe.